What's up, everybody? Welcome into the 615 podcast. It's your host, Lee Hillis, and today we are talking Titans Bills preview ahead of the Monday night game. And yes, this is a very rare Friday night show. And of course, you see our guest is April Bailey, and we'll be back with April right after this. If you're listening to the audio version on Spotify, it's right after this and a word from our sponsor.
Tennessee Titans season's over. Let's call it what it is.
Running the ball now.
He fakes cover by low and loses the ball. It's Titans ball. And Tannehill, he's got room. 30, 20, 10, 5, it's zone.
Trying to go win the Super Bowl for this entire season.
Take a deep breath. Okay, have some fun. Be poised and think. You're going to make mistakes. Every one of you is going to make a mistake. Go figure out a way to make it right.
Wherever you listen throughout the world, it's football time in Tennessee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back in. And of course, let's take care of some housekeeping. Subscribe to the show, share the show out, and turn on notification bells and turn it to all so you know when we go live. And of course, the socials are running across the bottom of the screen: Twitter at podcast615, Instagram at the_615 podcast, TikTok, which we are live on right now at Lee Hillish. YouTube is the 615 podcast, and donations are greatly appreciated on Cash App. Of course, the $ capital THE 615 podcast with a capital P. And let's go ahead and bring our guest in, April Bailey. April, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
And of course, I know it's been a minute since we've talked.
Yes. That's
But
it's always going to be a good conversation, though.
it is, because of course we're talking the boys in two-tone blue.
My favorite subject.
And of course, rough week one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely a rough week, but I think that any reaction is an overreaction. I think if we had won, there would have been an overreaction of how, good we're going to be this year. But, we lost. And so now I believe there's an overreaction of how bad we're going to be this year. I knew that game one, it's really rare that you get game one to be a trap game, but I kind of feel like that game one for us was that trap game.
And I saw a quote from Todd Downing, and he took full responsibility for that third down play calling to Chicago in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, as he should have. It was definitely his play calling. I don't love it. I don't love the play calling, but it was really the first game of the season is kind of like a preseason game for all of our starters too, because they didn't play in the preseason or anything like that. And so he was kind of getting a feel of how they're going to be, real game speed and all of those things. So I think it's a little bit too early to kind of put the dagger in him just yet, and definitely kind of too early to put the dagger in our offense. I think that we're going to come out and look like a completely different team this week, hopefully.
And of course, we have a very tough matchup Monday night. Buffalo Bills, Tennessee Titans, Monday Night Football from Buffalo. And Buffalo is coming off of 10 days of rest because they played the Rams to open the season on Thursday night.
Yeah. And you know what? They're coming off a lot of rest, but I think that could be used to our advantage. I think any team that maybe had that many days off, when they come back in, they may not be up to game speed. We might be able to take advantage of that. It's always a good game with Buffalo anyway. So I definitely look forward to seeing what the game plan is going in there. It's going to be a very hostile environment, something that the Titans thrive in. Away games, another thing that the Titans thrive in. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of see backs against the wall again, underdogs again. And typically those are the situations we do good in. But you just never know. I mean, it's a new personnel, new group. Hopefully, though, we continue to do the things that we've done in the past.
And of course, we seem to play better in prime time.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We always play better in prime time. We play better when our backs are against the wall. We play better when we're underdogs. So we have all of those three conditions going in to this game. And so I really believe that this game is going to look a lot different than game one. There's just so many different factors. And, Mike Keith said it best, when you're going into games where offenses can score 40 points, you're going to game plan differently. When you're going into games where offenses struggle to score 21 points, you're going to game plan differently. Most of the time, those are the games that end up biting us in the butt. But we're pretty good at game planning against the teams that can score, 40 points. We're pretty good at keeping them under that. So hopefully we can provide the same things going into this game.
And of course, Al Pierce said it best, we have to have a solid showing. And only total annihilation will do.
Oh, yeah. Everyone has to play their best game. Everyone has to play well. If they do not play well, we're going to get blown out of the stadium. So everyone has to be at the top of their game. I believe that fully Henry has to bounce back. Henry has to have a way better game than he had game one.
Yes.
And, I was telling people that as much as they want to blame, Tannehill, then they need to be fair and say the same thing about Henry. He was coming back from his injury. It's not the first game back from his injury, but it might as well be. He didn't play very much in that last postseason game.
And
so
playoff game.
Yeah, and so, he has got to get back into game rhythm. He's got to have a good game. We need him to have a good game at the end of the day.
And of course, someone who's never been in the comments, I don't know who this person is, true Titan fan for life, said between Todd Downing and Tannehill, we're in for a rough season this year. Glad Downing took responsibility for the play calling. However, Tannehill wasn't able to keep drives alive and when it mattered most.
I think that parts of that is true. Todd Downing did not do a very good job executing the offense that he had on the team. He did not do a very good job of putting the right personnel in. I think Tannehill actually did do a good job of executing the plays that were called. I just don't think that there were very good plays that were called. I think he did a good job of doing his job. He did not go above and beyond his job. He did what his job was to do in that drive. And unfortunately, in that game on Sunday, we needed him to go above and beyond what his job description was in order for us to win because of the play calling. But I don't think that I don't put that on his shoulders at all. I think he executed what he was supposed to do. He protected the football, and he didn't have turnovers. And he played the plays that were called. Unfortunately, the plays that were called this weren't very well.
And of course, he did really well with what he had on the field. And the play that we had mentioned, I think, was that third down play to Chigakonkwo in the fourth quarter that inevitably went nowhere because, of course, Taylor the one got blew up.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, that comes down to play calling. At the end of the day, Tannehill didn't call that play. He has to play the play that's called. As we saw during preseason, if you're not doing what you're told, you're going to be benched. And I think that that's something that Tannehill's looking at this year too. Is he knows that there's someone behind him that who's good and that can come up and play. And so he's trying to play to the T, and do what they're telling him to do. So at the end of the day, they can't blame him. Now, do I think that he went above and beyond his job? No, he definitely did only his job. And he played the calls that were called. And could he have changed it? Yeah, but I think that there's a little bit of hesitation there because of what we saw.
And of course, let's go ahead and head into the main part of this show. Of course, it is Tennessee Titans, Buffalo Bills, Monday Night Football, live from Buffalo. Let's start off talking about the Titans offensive players versus this Buffalo defense. I had to go Ryan Tannehill versus the Bills secondary.
Ryan Tannehill actually was the most consistent in the NFL this weekend in long plays and passes that were 20 yards or more. And so
which the Titans had 7 of.
Yeah. So I think that it's actually going to be a pretty good matchup. I think that we could challenge their secondary very, much so. And of course, if we can keep Henry doing what Henry does, it could feed into that even more. He could get past that first string into that secondary, and I think that could tire them out. And then, of course, Tannehill with his arm.
And speaking of his arm, somebody said something along the lines of what you said. Tannehill had an okay game, but he has to show he's able to win games with his arm.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it's just one game. So it's not that he hasn't shown us that. I think that he just is, he just is doing the plays that are called. When he gets down there, he gets us down to the field goal. That's ultimately was the game plan. He was never meant to go for 6 there. He was meant to get us down to where we needed to kick a field goal. They were trusting Randy Bullock's leg against what they thought was a team that they weren't going to have to put very much effort into. That kicking a field goal was going to suffice.
And of course, you see Titans defense versus the Buffalo Bills offense. Josh Allen versus this Titans pass rush that was very good last weekend.
Yeah, I look for Simmons, Weaver to have another really good game. Butler, they could really get Josh Allen moving. They could really get him thrown off his mark, and that may be what we have to depend on in order to stand in this football game. And I really think that that's going to be another way to do it.
And Josh Allen, most people don't know this, that he's their leading rusher right now.
Yeah, I mean, which is no surprise. He's a mobile quarterback. And so it could be good for us to kind of see that and kind of see him get out of, that pocket. So that way it challenges our defense a little bit more. Now it could also tire out our defense, so there'll be definitely something to watch, see how many substitutes and things like that we'll be able to get in.
And somebody made a decent point that the Giants were missing 2 of their best defensive players. And Kayvon Thibodeau was one of them.
Yeah. It was the first game of the season. And yeah, they were missing 2 of their biggest defensive players, and it still didn't affect the game very much. I feel like we went in there with the game plan, and we executed the game plan, and the game plan did not ever expect for the Giants to get over 15 points. And unfortunately, they did. Sometimes that's just the gamble that you have to take.
And I'm going to ask you one of the same questions I asked Jill Jelnick on Monday, the day after the game. Did the loss of Harold Landry play a big part in this loss to the New York Giants last week?
I think we all kind of expected it to, but I don't think it made as big of a difference as we thought it was going to make. I feel like our defense did a decent job. The difference is our defense gave up cheap points. And when you're playing
a lot of
team,
rushing yards.
Yeah. When you're playing a team, that are the same caliber as the Giants, typically you can't allow to give up cheap points. But when you have an offense that's not very strong, like our offense wasn't Sunday, you can't allow those cheap points to be given up. And I feel like on the major stops that the defense was there, but I just feel like they just gave up a little bit too much cheap points depending on their offense.
And True Titan for Life said, Bud played great, so did Big Jeff and Weaver.
Oh, yeah, they had a great game, and I expect them to have another great game on Monday.
And going back to Titans-Bills, keys to victory, what is it going to take for the Titans to win this game? The first thing I said was make Josh Allen one-dimensional. Force him to beat you with his arm.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with that. Make him one-dimensional, but really, I don't think it's rocket science here. I think the key to the game is for everybody to do their job, just do what they're supposed to do. I feel like if Henry shows up and Henry has a great game and Ryan Tannehill does what he's supposed to do, I feel like we will have a good team. I feel like we have the team that can win. So I think the key to the game is just that everybody show up and do what they're supposed to do.
And, of course, number 2 is get an offensive spark early out of this offense. Ryan Tannehill, Robert Woods, Traylon Burks. Maybe Kyle Phillips is out. We do not know. Derrick Henry, Chigakonkwo. And this week, if I could tell Todd down anything, do not rely on Jeff Swaim as much.
Yeah. This game is going to have to be heavily relied on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's going to have to show up, and the play calling is going to have to show it. Even if it's just him chipping away at that defense, so that way we can get some good plays in. I would like to see our tight ends to get more involved, maybe not in the way they were last week because that was not very good, but they're going to have to – I definitely would like to see them get more involved.
Number 3, I went keep the Bills offense off the field and force them to drive the length of it when they have the ball.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You want to keep the ball away from Josh Allen as much as possible. Josh Allen's a great quarterback. And so you want to see him on the sideline as much as possible. If you see him on the sideline, that means we're doing our job.
And the last key for me, get a huge pass rush on Josh Allen.
Yes, the more you can shake Josh Allen up, the more he's going to be off his targets, the more he's going to be resistant to throw the ball and kind of make him that one-dimensional. So, yes, that's a huge key to the game, and I couldn't agree more.
And, of course, I think we have someone in here that you may know.
Hey, what's shaking Titans?
And, of course, he said Monday night will tell a lot about our team for this year.
Oh, 100% agree. 100% agree. I think he was right when he said on his live podcast that we're going to see a whole different team on Monday night. And I couldn't agree with that more as well, because I don't think that we'll see any of the same play calling or anything like that. I think that, like I said earlier in the show, that this first game, was kind of designed to be kind of like a
trap game.
Test and see. Yeah, a test and see how our starters are going to do.
And then he also said, my key is we need to play a full game. And I
100%.
agree.
Yeah, 100%. Like I was saying earlier, we have to have every player show up and do their job.
And the next thing, of course, we're heading into the back end of this, are players to watch for per week one stats. So if you could mention anybody, who would you say to mention to keep an eye on for this week?
I don't think Traylon Burks got enough credit for Sunday. I think he played a really good game considering the amount of time that he was in there. They were easing him in kind of like they did AJ. So I think he'd be a player to watch this week just to kind of see, how he's doing. I think another player that did excellent for his first full season game would be Stonehouse. So I think that he's going to be another player to keep an eye on and kind of watch. And, of course, to see if Kyle Phillips ends up playing. I know that, he's got some injuries going back and forth. So it's going to be interesting to see how he deals with that coming in as a rookie, So we kind of I feel like we've kind of dealt with this whole situation before. It's just different players because you kind of have like the Corey Davis type with the injuries and all that stuff, but we knew he was going to be good if we could just get him into the game. And then we have the AJ Brown type that they were unsure about in Traylon Burks, that they were unsure about, coming in from camp and all that stuff. And then he ends up just turning it on in the season and doing a great job. So I feel like it's kind of like a deja vu. So we'll kind of see how that situation plays out.
And of course, Gary said Von Miller, Henry, and Burks are his three to watch.
Oh, Von Miller. Yeah, I love watching Von Miller play regardless of the team that he's on. He was one of my favorite over in Denver. So it's going to be interesting to watch him. Him and Ryan Tannehill were college teammates. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, it's kind of funny to watch them banter back and forth. This will be the first time that they kind of face each other in a long time. And he kind of told Von Miller to stay out of his bubble. So it wouldn't be I predict Von's going to get at least maybe 2 sacks on Ryan, just as kind of like a show of, hey, I'm here type thing. Regardless.
And of course, he also said Von was on fire week 1.
Oh, yeah. He looked like he was a young buck out there running around. But, we also have a great, I think him and Tyler Warren, it's gonna be a good, interesting it's going to be a good kind of interesting matchup to kind of watch and see how those two end up with, playing each other.
And so, of course, my 3 from the Titans, Ryan Tannehill had a pretty good game Sunday. 20 of 33, 266 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's 60% completion for Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier in the show, I think he did the job that they asked him to do. I don't think he went above and beyond it. I don't think that he, did anything special. I think he had a game plan and went out there and he executed it and he held on to the ball. He didn't turn the ball over. Do I think that he played exceptionally well? No. I think that he did just enough. I think that he kind of knows the situation behind him. And, he's trying to play it safe at the same time as, make sure that he's protected as well. So I'm not really too impressed with those numbers. Of course, this is what his 5th or 6th year in the league, maybe longer. So he should be doing that at the very least. But at the same time, he didn't turn the ball over. He did protect the ball, and he did the job that we're asking him to do. So,
and you're talking about how long he's been in the league. He was drafted, I want to say this is year 11 for Ryan.
Oh, well, I was way off.
He was drafted. No, this is he's going into year 11. Either year 2 or year 11.
Yeah. Well, he's been here long enough. He should be doing that.
Al Pierce said it very well. You need to watch Henry. He has to run like the king Watch Weaver and Dupree. Their pressure will be important. And watch this offensive line because Nate Davis may be out.
Yeah, one of the biggest keys to the game again. He's completely right. I mean, I hate to say it, but Henry has to step up. Henry has to be Henry. And I don't know that whole situation. I don't know if they're trying to ease him into it. I don't know if he's just rusty, shaking off the rust. I just know that he wasn't Henry last week, and we missed it. And we need Henry. Last week he was. I mean, he was a body on the field, but he wasn't Henry. We still kind of missed that Henry factor.
It was like Derek was playing extremely flat.
Yeah, he was playing it flat. I mean, I think the game just got ahead of him. You have to think about how long it's been since he played an actual game. He played in the preseason. I mean, in the postseason, but he didn't play very often. He didn't play very much, And so, I don't know how much of it is just the fact that he needs to get back into the playing, because anytime that you're out, you're gonna have those little mishaps of rust and all that stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see if this week he's able to kind of shake that off and kind of get back to where he was, just because, we need him. At the end of the day, we need him. And so it kind of makes me look at the big picture of the fact that we didn't add on to his years. We didn't extend him past 2023. And I'm wondering if they saw maybe the same thing in practice that we're seeing now, that he's not Henry. He's not the Henry that we needed pre-surgery.
And I think that's somewhat of the reason they drafted Hassan Haskins.
Yeah. I know that it's hard. It's hard to think about as Titan fans. Like, it was really hard when I was younger. It was hard to watch George on his way out. It was kind of hard to watch, how it's going to be, life after George. Like, we couldn't picture it. We loved Eddie George. We love Steve McNair, and so life after them is something that we couldn't picture. And so I think we're kind of doing the same thing now. It's like, we don't want to even talk about life after Henry, but it's something that the business people and the front office people are already looking at, because it's something that they see daily, coming in and out of his progressions.
And of course, we're live over on TikTok. Someone came and said, "Not gonna lie, we're finna run all over y'all, man. I'm sorry." But Of course, Derek's on here, 21 carries, 80 yards, and of course, a guy that you mentioned in Traylon Burks. Traylon, for his first game, that is not bad. 3 catches and 55 yards.
Yeah, I mean that's a really good, stat. He's a rookie. He didn't play very often. Like I said, they were kind of easing him in, like they did AJ, and so, but when he was on the field, he was definitely a factor.
And Traylon only played as like 24 snaps.
100%. Yeah. And so I feel like that's really good numbers. He's progressing, I think, a lot better than a lot of the Titan fans thought he would. And that's good to see. That's good to see.
And of course, Gary's coming here saying Henry will be fine. I think he will. I think Henry will be just fine.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. Once he gets into it, like I said, it's going to be hard to tell what the actual issue is, because we're not there, we're not watching him every day. But it's just the fact that it's concerning, seeing that his performance in week 1. It's got to be something that you talk about if you're going to be fair across the board. What we need in week 2, we need Henry in week 2.
And let's look at the Bills offense. Josh Allen, 26 of 31. That's 84%. 297 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's also their leading rusher with 10 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown. So he accounted for 4 touchdowns in that game.
Oh, yeah. Josh Allen is, he's a great quarterback, and he definitely has something to prove. I think that he's trying to elevate his team to the next level. I don't see him, degressing anytime. Our defense has definitely got a challenge on their hands, but I think that, we played the Bills. We played them last year. We played them previous year. And so it's always a good game. It's always a good game. So it's going to be interesting to see how our defense responds But if we had any other personnel on defense, I would be a lot more worried about a blowout. I'm not, because our personnel on defense is absolutely amazing. And so I think if anybody can challenge Josh Allen, it's going to be the personnel that we have on defense right now. I would love it if Landry was still in, but I really think Weaver did a great job last week.
Weaver did do a good job, of course. Stephon Diggs, 8 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown. That's one of their explosive toys right there, is Stephon Diggs. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. No, I was saying that he's definitely going to help. He's definitely going to challenge our secondary. Stephon Diggs is. It's going to be interesting to see how Caleb Farley responds. Caleb Farley and our other members of our secondary kind of respond to him. I know we do have some newer pieces in our secondary. I'm a little bit more apt to think that our secondary, if we can't beat them up front, that may be a reason to worry for our secondary.
And of course, the same person said we finna run all over y'all just came in on TikTok and said, which one has more fantasy value, Zeke or a bag of chips?
A bag of chips. I will raise you a bag of chips.
And of course, let's head to the defense. As we were saying, Rashad Weaver had a very good game. For his first regular season start, 3 tackles, one of them has 1 assisted, and 2 sacks.
Yeah, Rashad Weaver. Rashad Weaver did an amazing job. I'm sorry, I got my 2-year-old over here turning my light on and off. But Rashad Weaver did an amazing job. He, came in, and I feel like we almost didn't miss Landry. We did, of course, as far as some of the more experienced things. But I think Weaver did a great job stepping in and doing, what he was asked to do.
And then, of course, Gary said, well, guys, I got to go. Huge announcement about to go live on YouTube.
Well, good luck, Gary. Everybody go over to check out What's Shaking Titans. It's a great podcast. Go ahead, subscribe. We're all in this together.
And then, of course, Amani Hooker, 3 tackles, 1 assist, and the lone interception. And then Big Jeff, 4 tackles, 2 assists, 2 sacks. All 3 of those guys had solid games. Could they have been better? Yes.
Oh yeah, they could have been better. But they definitely could have been better. But this, like I said, it's the first game, and the fact that they were already so good during the first game lets me know that it can only go up from here, because I feel like they had a good solid game, and I expect them to only get better.
And then, of course, the Bills' defense, you have Kari Elam, Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Terrell Edmonds, right there at the middle, in your linebacking core, along with Von Miller. Von Miller is a force on that defense. That defense had 7 sacks. And, of course, I didn't have this in my keys to victory. My last one is protect Ryan Tannehill.
Protection's a huge key. Vaughn's going to go after him. That's no secret, no lie. And I'm not sure that our offensive line is quite ready to handle something like Vaughn. It does make me, a little bit shaky, but I think that at the end of the day, it'll be, it's just they're going to have to do their job. They got to hold up. They got to do their job. If they don't protect Tannehill, it could be really ugly, really fast.
And, of course, you see Kari Elam had 3 tackles. He really didn't make a splash like I thought he would come out of Florida. Micah Hyde 2 tackles, 3 more assisted. Jordan Poyer had 2 tackles and the lone and one of like the 4 or 5 interceptions that Buffalo had.
Yeah, Buffalo played lights out last week. They played and they did an amazing, amazing job, of keeping the Super Bowl champs kind of, in check. And it does make you kind of like, but at the same time, I feel like Titans always rise to the occasion when it's games like this.
So I'm gonna go a little something that I was just thinking about. Let's go a little over under for the game. Over under 45 points scored.
Ooh, both teams have a really good defense. I'm gonna go with under. I think that we're gonna be able to stop them on defense, and they're gonna be able to hold our offense. Hopefully, not hold our offense too much, but I think they're gonna be able to hold our offense enough. I'm gonna go under 45.
I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go closer to 60.
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Because
That's the best way to look at it.
If you look at both offenses, yes, both offenses are good offenses. But if you look at it, also, Buffalo's coming off of a long week of rest. They're going to be energized to go. Tennessee, they're dealing with, they're still trying to figure out who they are this season without A.J. Brown, without Roger Saffold. Of course, Roger Saffold is a Buffalo Bill. David Questenberry is a Buffalo Bill. Not to mention it, Daquan Jones is a Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, that's interesting. And those are definitely pieces that we're going to be missing, throughout the season. And I don't know. I think that's. I like it. I mean, I do see that we could go over 45 points, but I'm still going to stick with my under. But I do see that we could go over.
I'm going to go along the lines of what happened last year. I'm going to go 33-30 final, but in favor of Tennessee.
I don't know why I keep saying in my head like a.
Because the way I'm thinking, okay, so Tennessee's going to drive down, score, make it 33-30. Buffalo's going to fail to convert on a 4th and long to get into field goal range.
But you think Tennessee can put up 30 points?
I think so. If Derek gets rolling, nobody can stop us. Because if they stack the box, we're going to go over their head.
With Traylon?
Either Traylon or Robert Woods.
That's another player I didn't see a lot of.
Of course, the Titans led the league in rookie receiving yards last week.
Mm-hmm.
With I think like 132 rookie receiving yards between Traylon Burks and Kyle Phillips.
Yeah, so Woods didn't play a whole lot, or maybe he did. He just didn't get the ball a whole lot.
He was quiet.
But I think he is. I want to say I saw somewhere that he's better at blocking. Like he's a great blocker. Did I see that right? I think I did.
I think so.
Yeah.
But of course, everybody get ready. Titans Bills Monday night. It is a 6:15 Eastern or 6:15 Central, 7:15 Eastern kickoff from Buffalo. And of course, Jill Jelnick dropped a little hint. Fox is carrying that game there in Tennessee.
Second week in a row, Fox is carrying a Tennessee game.
They won the local bid there in Nashville.
Okay.
So
I
they're
didn't know
doing a pregame. They're doing a pregame special at 5:30
Okay.
on Fox 17. So if you're in the Nashville area, go check out Fox 17 at 5:30 for the Titans Bills pregame special, and then game at 6:15. And then, of course, April, thank you for, of course,
Of
taking time out of
course.
your
Yes.
night.
Yes, of course. Sorry, you guys are kids in the background.
And of course, let's go get this win. We need this
Yes,
win.
we need this win. Let's everybody do their job. Let's go get this win. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on the show. Hope together we work together soon. Again, um, What
And of
Chicken
course,
Titans podcast just went live not too long ago. So when you get down here, if you want more football, go ahead and go over there and check out that show. And it's always good.
and of course, there might be something going down for the 2-year show in December.
Nice.
I'm doing 4 shows in 1 week.
Oh wow, you're gonna be a busy
December,
man.
December 6th and December 7th, and December 9th and December 10th. December 6th is Ladies' Night.
Oh,
And, and of course, I've already got Caroline Fenton on
I love her.
on tab for that show. I reached out to Kayla Anderson, still waiting to hear back from her. And of course, I'm trying to get Nikki Lattarulo from Channel 4.
Ooh,
There in
yes,
Nashville.
she's awesome.
So, of course, I said, April, thank you. And of course, on those shows, keep an eye out for those shows because
Yes,
there's no telling what could happen.
yes.
And of course, April, as I said, thank you again
Thank
for the
you.
third
Thank
time.
you for having me.
And as I said, let's go get this win, stay classy, and tighten up.